All right, let's jump right into this explainer and unpack how DocuSign is fundamentally changing the way businesses interact with their contracts in 2026. For almost 2 decades now, they've been pretty much synonymous with the electronic signature. But as we're going to see today, simply signing a document just isn't enough anymore. The very nature of an agreement is completely transforming right before our eyes. We are moving from a dead-end document to an active beginning.
So, this is the multi-billion-dollar question we're answering today as we explore this massive transition. Think about it for a second. An enterprise's most valuable, sensitive, and operational information is usually locked away inside static text files, scattered across hard drives, literally just collecting digital dust. But what actually happens when you wake that data up?
Here's our roadmap for today. First, the post-pandemic pivot. 2, intelligent agreement management explained. 3, the private data advantage. 4, real-world workflow efficiencies. And 5, navigating the road ahead.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the post-pandemic pivot.
Founded back in 2003, DocuSign spent years just trying to convince people that a digital signature was legally binding. Then the COVID-19 boom hit. When physical offices completely shut down, they became absolute critical infrastructure, hitting unprecedented peak valuations. But after that massive pandemic surge, they faced a pretty severe growth hangover. Now, under CEO Alan Thygesen, they are completely reinventing themselves for the AI era. And look at the sheer scale they're working with today. They've got a massive financial and customer foundation to build this new AI vision upon. We're talking $3.2 billion in revenue and over 1.8 million customers worldwide. This isn't some plucky startup trying to find a product market fit. This is an absolute giant, leveraging a colossal footprint to introduce a brand new way of working.
Moving right along to Section 2, intelligent agreement management explained.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, the absolutely crucial point here is that they're pivoting from a purely transactional per-signature utility into a continuous per-agreement management platform. Instead of DocuSign just being that final step at the very end of an email chain, it becomes the ultimate system of record. It's where the agreement is born, negotiated, analyzed, and managed long after the ink, or, the pixels, are dry. Now, there are 3 core pillars that work together to unlock all that data previously trapped in static PDFs. First up, you've got Navigator, which is essentially the AI brains storing and analyzing your contracts. Then there's Maestro, which lets you build these awesome automated workflows without writing a single line of code. And finally, the App Center, which connects this entire system to the other software tools your business is already using every single day. This is a brilliant play for stickiness. By integrating directly into everyday tools like Salesforce, Anthropic, Google Gemini, and Microsoft, DocuSign is weaving itself right into the daily fabric of enterprise operations. They really don't want you leaving your CRM just to manage a contract. They want their AI powering that contract right exactly where you're already working.
Which brings us to Section 3, the private data advantage. This is a big one.
With AI models popping up literally everywhere right now, you've got to ask yourself, what makes DocuSign's artificial intelligence uniquely powerful for enterprise businesses? I mean, why wouldn't a company just upload their contracts to ChatGPT or another public, general-purpose large language model? Well, here's where proprietary data becomes a serious weapon. While general models are trained on whatever random public contracts exist on the open web, DocuSign's Iris AI engine is trained on nearly 200 million private, consented agreements from their own customers. And the result? Up to a 15 percentage point improvement in precision and recall. Now, in the legal world, where a single missed indemnity clause can literally cost a company millions, that 15% improvement is an absolute game changer.
Trust is everything when you're dealing with sensitive contracts. Businesses are, rightfully, totally unwilling to toss their proprietary merger details or sensitive employee data into a public open-source model. You simply can't risk that kind of information leaking into a public training set. So DocuSign is banking heavily on their established, decades-long reputation as a highly secure, compliant environment to win over those cautious enterprises.
And it's not just that the private data is more accurate. It's also about the bottom line. Think about how expensive it is to pump massive, multi-page legal PDFs through public LLMs. The compute power and API costs are huge. But by optimizing their Iris AI specifically for agreements, DocuSign can run these workflows up to 50 times cheaper. That is a massive margin protector for them. All right, let's jump into Section 4, Real-World Workflow Efficiencies. Let's look at the actual numbers. Because theory is great, but how is this actually moving the needle today? Take Vestwell, a fintech company focused on workplace savings. By connecting the IAM platform directly with their CRM, they slashed their customer agreement creation time from 75 minutes down to just 5 minutes. Imagine giving your sales team over an hour back for every single deal they process. That's the real, tangible power of AI-driven automation. We see similarly amazing results with Payworks. Using IAM workflows hooked up with Salesforce, they boosted their 24-hour contract completion rate from 55% to a staggering 87%. By doing this, they successfully recovered over $400,000 in annual sales productivity. These aren't just soft, feel-good metrics. This is hard, measurable revenue being driven directly by AI efficiency. By deploying these purpose-built AI agents, DocuSign is actively taking all that tedious, busy work out of procurement and sales compliance. Think of these agents as tireless, automated paralegals. They log in, figure out what's urgent, cross-reference vendor risks against third-party databases, highlight clauses that no longer meet your legal standards, and they'll even draft the notice letters for you to approve. It's a fundamental shift in how the actual work gets done. Finally, Section 5. Navigating the road ahead. We have to acknowledge that the competitive landscape here is complex. On one hand, DocuSign has to fight off massive tech titans like Adobe, who often just bundle their e-signature tools for free or super cheap within existing software packages. That creates a lot of pricing pressure. Then, on the other hand, they face these highly specialized niche players like iCertis, who offer deep, complex customization for massive enterprise deployments. So DocuSign really has to carefully thread the needle between those two extremes. Look, this is a bet-the-company move, and it absolutely carries risks, especially the threat that basic e-signatures just become a free, commoditized feature everywhere. But the upside? It's tremendous. If DocuSign can successfully upsell even just 20% of their existing user base to these new, higher-value AI management tiers, it could trigger a massive reacceleration of their revenue. Add in their huge investments in places like Europe, and that international growth runway looks very promising. So, here's what it comes down to. We are rapidly moving from a world where we just file contracts away in a digital drawer to a world where our contracts actually actively work for us. Will DocuSign successfully make the leap from just digitizing our signatures to acting as the literal brain of our business operations? It's going to be absolutely fascinating to watch unfold. Thanks for joining this explainer. We'll see you next time.